All right, the plasma control program, everything can be done from the main screen. The top here, you've got some tabs. These are considered tabs, these are pull downs. On the tabs, the only one you're going to use is Program Run. Any of these other tabs will be when you're in contact with our company due to the problem, you have a problem or a question, or you're changing settings on your machine. For example, if you have an issue, we may have you go to the diagnostic screen. Typically, until you learn how the machine operates, I mean, you're free to use this, but you may not understand some of it, and there's no need to. To get started with, everything can be done right from the Program Run screen. The Program Run screen is looks busy. Everything on here, though, is pretty easy to use, pretty self-explanatory. First, we have our three main DROs, which are our current position of the torch in the X, Y, and Z coordinate system. You can zero each one of those independently, or you can zero all, and it'll zero all three of them. Referencing X and referencing Y, by clicking reference X, the machine will move until its home switch closes. Referencing Y, same happens, except the machine moves in the Y-axis direction until its home switch closes. There is no need to reference Z with plasma because it does it every time it pierces when it finds the top of the plate, so there's no need to manually reference it. Go to 0 will lift the Z-axis to a safe height from its last referencing point, and then we'll move the X and the Y-axis to coordinate 0. Machine coordinates, by clicking that, you can see how far your new 0 point is from the machine coordinate system 0 point, which is always the bottom left corner of the machine. Soft limits, if this is blinking, soft limits is on. If it is not blinking, you have shut it off. Soft limits basically looks at machine coordinates, and it knows that it can move X amount to the right and X amount up. The reason I say X amount is it depends on what size machine you have. On a 5x10, for example, it'll move like 62 inches to the right, and it'll move 123 inches toward the rear of the machine. So by having soft limits on, it looks and it says, okay, I'm already 18. Even though I'm really 0 where he wants to start cutting, I'm truly 18.4 away from the 0 point of the machine coordinates. So it'll look ahead and it'll say, oh, I can't cut this because I'm going to run out of travel. So it's actually a good thing to have on. The people that have trouble with soft limits are people that forget to reference their machine, because if you don't reference it, the machine has no way of knowing where 0, 0 for the machine coordinates is, and then you'll trip your soft limits. But it can easily be turned on and off with this button. Once you load a G-code program, it is in this dialog box here. This shows you what line number you're on. This is the display for this path, and as you move it, you will see, as it goes down through, you will see that this will move. Dotted lines are rapid positions, solid lines are cutting movements. Everything can be done right here or by the pull downs. Load your G-code, you can close it. If you're cutting part way through, you can rewind it. You can edit the G-code. If you understand G-code and you want to make a quick change to it without having to regenerate it, you can go in here and edit it. Run from here is not difficult, but with torch height control, it does change some things compared to like a router, so it is covered in a separate video. Direct G-code input. If you understand G-code, you can directly type it in. So GOOY5. I just moved the, at a rapid speed, I moved the Y-axis 5 inches. When you're done typing in, you need to hit escape to exit this dialog box before you can do anything else. Feed rate override, we're currently set for 170. That's based off this G-code. You can bump that up if you want while cutting. You can do it on the fly. You can slow it down, then you can click reset. It'll automatically go back to 170. This is to be used only on the fly. Really, it shouldn't be correcting any problems. It would be if you were cutting and it's cutting a bit poorly, you think it needs to be sped up a little to decrease the dross, or thinks it needs to be slowed down to decrease the top side dross. You can do that, but really you should try and get all your settings proper in the G-code. Checking Z-switch offset is also covered in another video and is extremely important. It's a must-watch video. It is the #1 setting for good quality cuts. Very important to watch this video. THC moves is when the THC is on, how far the Z-axis has moved up and down. Torch volts is actual torch volts. Preset volts is what we tell it we want to track. So that comes right from your Hypotherm or Thermodynamics manual, and it's set within the cut profile. Volt up and volt down, if while cutting you think that it's too high or too low, you can automatically on the fly change this without having to stop everything. Torch on and off, turns the torch on and off, pretty much only used for diagnostics reasons. If you have a scribe button would turn it on and off. If you do not have a scribe, this button will not be there. The cut profile and these two DROs and these buttons here are covered under the video torch height controller, so I won't go in detail, but they are covered under there. Jogging, you have two different jog modes, continuous and step. Continuous, as you push the key, the machine, the appropriate key, the machine will move at this percentage the entire time it's being pushed. Page up and page down control the Z-axis. Left arrow and right arrow is the X-axis and moves the machine left and right. Up arrow moves the gantry and the torch away from the front of the table toward the rear, and the down arrow moves it toward the front of the table. Again, you can enter a number in here, just click in it, type in a number and hit enter. 100% would be the maximum. So as long as you're pushing one of those keys, it's going to move the table at 100% of jog speed. The next jog mode is step. Click on here, enter a number in here. You can enter 0.5. When you push a key, it's going to move ½ an inch. Okay. These are just indicator boxes. DTHC online should be lit up when you can turn the control box on. That means that it's communicating with the torch height controller computer. Once the torch fires and there's a good arc current flowing from the work clamp up to the torch, your arc OK light will come on. If while cutting it requires the torch to go up or down to track the voltage, these will blink. They happen very quick. You're not going to do a lot with it. Again, these are pretty much indicators to know that you're communicating. Tip saver, if tip saver kicks in so that it won't keep tracking the voltage and it drops down a certain amount and then stops, this will kick on. Again, these are only indicators. Run obviously runs the program that you've loaded. Feed, hold, stop, and reset, believe it or not, are all very similar. Reset is the same exact thing as hitting the emergency stop. All movement will cease. Torch will shut off. It's going to lock up. It's an emergency only type situation. Stop is, again, going to happen a lot quicker, but it's not the same thing as hitting an emergency stop. Feed hold is what you would want to do if you're in the middle of doing G-code and there's not a problem. There isn't an emergency. What feed hold will do is will stop on the net when it's done processing whatever line it's on. So feed hold, you're not sure when it's going to stop. You're just telling it, I want to process the line I'm on, but stop after that. Don't continue on doing the G-code. Regenerate toolpath will regenerate it based on your 0 points where you set it at. For example, I'm at 5.5. So if I zero this and then regenerate the toolpath, you'll now see I'm back down here in the corner. So a lot of times when you've jogged way over and set your 0 point, your display will be really distorted. Just click regenerate toolpath. Rotary park and flat park are only to be used if you have the rotary attachment. And you would click rotary park and then it will prepare the machine to park it over the rotary table so that it's online with tubing.